started quietly, with a tower rising out of the desert. No noise, no announcement, just a skeletal frame topped with cameras that never sleep. Within months, there were dozens, then hundreds. From the Pacific coast of California to the Rio Grande Valley, a new kind of sentry had taken root. Steel and circuitry, replacing men with tireless machines. For the first time in decades, every major cartel route into the United States was visible. Not guessed at, not estimated, but actually seen. The US military calls it persistent domain awareness. To border agents on the ground, it is simply total, unquestionable visibility. In 2025, a network of powerful military-grade surveillance systems transformed the southern border entirely. This frontier quickly became one of the most closely watched land borders on the planet. The combination of ground-based radar, thermal cameras that see heat, high-altitude spy planes, and systems that shoot down drones has closed the blind spots the cartels once owned. Every vehicle, every person trying to cross, and every smuggler is now tracked in real time. The era of dark crossings and hidden paths is completely over. For many years, cartel routes shifted like smoke in the wind. When US forces secured one area, the traffickers simply opened another. They used hidden tunnels, small aircraft, drone swarms, and hidden convoys. It was an endless, frustrating game of cat and mouse. But in the last 2 years, the advantage shifted decisively. What began as small tests by the Department of Defense has become a unified surveillance grid that covers almost 2,000 miles. At the core of this system are tools once meant only for distant battlefields, now turned inward for decisive defense. Each piece of technology has a specific job, but they all fit together like the gears in a single, perfectly built machine designed for absolute sight. This is the first layer of US dominance, knowing everything, everywhere. The first building block of this decisive control is the Ground-Based Operational Surveillance System Expeditionary, or GBSE. These tall, skeletal towers stand over the borderlands, equipped with powerful cameras, laser rangefinders, and radar. They were first made to protect Marine bases in foreign wars, offering protection and clarity in hostile zones. Now, GBSE tracks every single movement across the American Southwest with undeniable accuracy. It sees heat through darkness, dust, and across long distances. It never stops watching, and it does not blink. Operators in command centers can spot a single person moving several miles away. When the system finds a target, it instantly locks down coordinates, confirms the finding with radar, and sends the data to patrol units in seconds. For the cartels that once relied on the vast anonymity of the open desert, this system is a nightmare. Every dune and every ridge is now under the eye of an unblinking machine, exposing their every pathetic attempt to hide.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
This sudden exposure is the first humiliation. Yet, fixed towers cannot cover everything. Cartel smugglers try to adapt by shifting their movements to canyons, riverbeds, and small mountain trails. This is where the Long-Range Advanced Scout Surveillance System, LRAS-3, asserts US dominance. Mounted on tactical vehicles, LRAS-3 gives border forces a mobile, long-distance hunter. Its thermal sensors can detect human movement over 4 miles away, even if the person is trying to use camouflage. LRAS-3 teams act like moving sentinels, scanning high ridges and following heat trails invisible to the human eye, even under the darkest moon. When one system finds movement, others turn instantly to check and confirm the finding. All the systems work as one digital net, closing the available space until escape for the smuggler becomes impossible. This constant tracking shows the enemy that they are hunted and helpless, even on the move. Adding to this decisive ground coverage are the Crow's cameras. The common remotely operated weapon station began as a tool for combat, allowing soldiers to aim from the safety of their armored trucks. At the border, it has been repurposed as an instrument for pure, unblinking surveillance. The weapon is removed, but the powerful, stabilized cameras and zoom lenses remain. These cameras are placed on fixed posts, tactical vehicles, and even barges along the river routes. Operators hundreds of miles away can sweep the terrain and track convoys of smugglers with a precision once reserved for combat missions. Every turn and every tilt of the camera feeds into the integrated watch network. This creates a continuous chain of sight from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to San Diego. The cartel's best-kept movements are now simply high-definition surveillance footage for the US. The cartels once believed they could hide in the vastness of the sky. Now, the sky is their greatest vulnerability, exposing their entire operation. The Navy's P-8 Poseidon, maritime surveillance aircraft, and the legendary U-2 Dragon Lady reconnaissance plane fly along and beyond the southern border. The P-8 can stay in the air for hours, scanning hundreds of miles with advanced radar and signal tools. It tracks not only vehicles, but also the very electronic chatter used by cartel operators, radio calls, satellite signals, and encrypted messages. The U-2, flying at the very edge of the Earth's atmosphere, can survey a huge area, capturing extremely detailed images deep into adversary territory. These aircraft form the permanent aerial perimeter. They feed their intelligence into the same system as the ground sensors, providing real-time analysis. When a convoy begins to move south of the border, the U-2 marks it. When it nears the crossing zone, GBOS-E and LRAS-3 pick up the target. When it crosses the line, ground units are already in position for the immediate and decisive interception. The cartels tried to fight back, escalating the conflict by weaponizing cheap, small drones. They use these to scout patrol routes, drop drugs, or even launch small, pitiful attacks. But this advantage evaporated instantly. US forces deployed Counter-Small Uncrewed Aerial System, CSUS technology. This includes radar, acoustic listening tools, and radio frequency tools that can find, track, and destroy enemy drones. The systems can spot a drone the size of a backpack from miles away, jam its signal, or even seize control of its flight path entirely, landing the enemy's own technology for capture. Some border posts now use focused energy beams that disable drone electronics in mid-air, often causing them to simply fall out of the sky. This is a swift and total humiliation for the cartel's small-scale air force. They are left blind, forced to move in the dark while being watched from above by an invincible air shield. Technology also moved into the underground. For years, tunnels were the cartel's trump card. Secret, organized highways running beneath the border, some even with electricity and rail systems. These tunnels are now massive, exposed liabilities. The deployment of ground-penetrating radar and autonomous tunnel detection robots has exposed more than 300 active tunnels since 2023. Many were destroyed before they could be finished. The message is now absolutely clear. There is no longer any below the radar. Every cubic meter of Earth along the key corridors is under constant surveillance, scanned by algorithms that recognize excavation signatures that are invisible to human eyes.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
The cartel's attempts to hide beneath the Earth only exposed their expensive, failed infrastructure. The true core of this dominance is not the physical hardware, but the thinking network behind it. Artificial intelligence now instantly handles the massive flood of data coming from every camera, radar, and aircraft. Software refined by defense agencies cross-links every single feed. When a vehicle appears on an infrared camera at 2 a.m. in the Arizona desert, the AI instantly compares its heat signature to thousands of past crossings. If the pattern matches a known smuggling path, the system automatically alerts patrols, forecasts the vehicle's exact route, and flags any potential decoy movements elsewhere. The network is constantly learning. Every failed cartel attempt simply teaches the system how to catch the next one more easily. What once required hours of human analysis now takes mere seconds. This scarcity of time for the adversary, contrasted with the overload of data for the US team, ensures their complete control. This level of control is achieved through seamless integration. The Department of Defense shares its live data stream instantly with all civilian agencies, including Customs and Border Protection, Homeland Security Investigations, and the DEA. Command centers in El Paso, Tucson, and San Diego see the exact same sensor data that military analysts use. When an unusual movement appears, agents can deploy ground teams or aerial assets immediately. This complete coordination means that drug shipments, convoys of human trafficking, and even fuel smuggling operations can be intercepted in real time. In practice, this technology has created a continuous coordinated surveillance belt along the entire border. The US now owns the perception of the border. What we see is what is real. What began as scattered military tests has grown into a powerful, fixed operational doctrine. Each system fills a precise need: GBOSS-E for wide, unblinking surveillance, LRAS-3 for mobile hunting, CROWS for sharp visual detail, CSUAS for drone defense, and spy planes for regional command. Together, they build overlapping fields of awareness. Cartel routes that once ran through Sonora, Chihuahua, and Tamaulipas are now nothing more than glowing, exposed trails on an operator's screen. The system's success lies in what strategists call multi-layered dominance. If one sensor fails, another one sees. If smugglers try to jam a signal, the radar keeps working. The surveillance network has no single point of blindness, ensuring their exposure is total. Technology is only the tool. The human operators turn this vast surveillance into decisive action. Many operators are veterans of previous wars, highly skilled at spotting patterns of movement and deception. They apply this same logic to the border now, seeing smugglers where they once saw enemy combatants. Every detection sets off an instant chain of command. From sensor to analyst, from analyst to the tactical unit, and then to the response team. The US control is instantaneous. The speed and precision have entirely changed the rhythm of enforcement. Raids are no longer simply reactive, responding to what happened. They are entirely predictive, stopping the threat before it can complete its mission. By the time smugglers reach the borderline, their entire path has already been mapped. Their outcome is already sealed by the network. This is dominance through foresight and intelligence. For years, the cartel's strength was the geography itself. The thousands of miles of desert, mountain, and river were their ally, impossible for law enforcement to watch fully. Now, that same geography is their prison. Infrared cameras cut through the night. Radar sees through sandstorms. Drones fly above heat waves. The routes that were once invisible are now transparent corridors, watched by machines that are tireless and uncaring. The cartels can still move, but they have completely lost the ability to hide. Their desperation shows in their countermeasures. They try small groups, shorter runs, and decoy crossings. They dig deeper tunnels and try to use improvised drone transport. But the intelligence network adapts faster than their pitiful improvisation. Every failed attempt adds new, crucial data. Every captured route makes the predictive model stronger. Tunnels now demand expensive engineering to try and evade the ever-present radar. Smuggling routes are now longer and far more dangerous for their personnel. Every adjustment they make costs them money and resources, grinding their organization down. The losses have been decisive. Cartels have lost over $1 billion in seized assets and failed shipments since these major system upgrades came online. This crushing financial pressure is now fracturing their alliances, leading to internal chaos. Factions within major criminal networks are blaming each other for failed operations and massive losses. Intercepted communications show mid-level commanders accusing their leadership of incompetence for underestimating the US surveillance power. What was once a highly organized machine for transnational profit is now devolving into fragmented survivalism and chaotic brute improvisation. The cartels are being humiliated by a silent seeing force, exposing their weakness to the world and to their own ranks. This is a clear assertion of tribal male-male dominance. The psychological effect on their operatives is just as damaging. Traffickers who once moved by instinct are now hunted by machines that do not sleep, do not miss a shift, and cannot be bribed. The balance of fear has been reversed. Before, patrols feared ambush in the desert. Now, the cartels fear the constant, omnipresent sensors above them. Their myth of invincibility, once built up over decades through propaganda and social media, is crumbling under the weight of cold, hard footage showing intercepted convoys and failed crossings. Their new recruits see not powerful heroes, but men who are hopelessly outsmarted by decisive learning machines. This is the identity-binding moment. The audience aligns with the competence and inevitable victory of U.S. technology and order. The new system achieves a preemptive form of interdiction. Algorithms predict smuggling attempts before they even start, analyzing the weather, the terrain, and any intercepted enemy messages to build likely route models. These predictive systems are accurate enough that U.S. units are now intercepting shipments before they even reach the crossing points, a smaller reward for the cartels before the final resolution. This hits the cartels at their weakest point: their planning and logistics. The U.S. is not playing catch-up. It is operating with anticipation and total control. This technological dominance has entirely reshaped the human element of enforcement. Since automation handles the tireless, routine detection, human agents can focus on strategic intervention. Rapid response teams deploy only when the AI has confirmed a threat with high probability. This greatly increases efficiency and accuracy. It is a silent, undeniable victory of precision over pointless attrition. Before, the cartels dictated the terms of the engagement. Now they can only react to the network's unyielding gaze. Their traditional intelligence networks, bribes, and human lookouts are now completely obsolete when every inch of the border is watched by algorithms that cannot be coerced. The strategic collapse of cartel ambition is not a result of one single strike, but of a continuous erosion through total exposure. Every tracked shipment, every mapped route, and every drone grounded erodes their illusion of control and secrecy. For the cartels, secrecy was their true power. Once technology stripped that away, their empire of shadows began to dissolve. The war is no longer fought with bullets in the desert, but with data in control rooms, where silence and signals determine who wins and who is exposed. As of late 2025, the southern U.S. border is no longer just a line on a map. It is a living system. Data flows through its digital veins. Towers hum constantly under the desert sun. Operators watch screens that trace criminal lives and movements across time. When cartels try out desperate new routes, the system instantly marks them. When enemy drones launch, the SISUAS locks on without fail. When a convoy moves in the night, the radar paints its path on the screen like a trail of light. In a command room, hundreds of miles away, an operator quietly confirms, "Target acquired." This is the new face of border warfare: silent, precise, and relentless. There are no frantic chases, no unnecessary firefights, just cold, hard observation that leads to an inevitable outcome. The lessons learned here are being deployed globally. This is a strategic shift, a move toward deterring threats not by massing forces, but by ensuring total awareness. Future adversaries, whether criminal organizations or state-level threats, now understand that the U.S. possesses the capability to render their operational space transparent. This creates a powerful deterrent effect. Why risk a billion-dollar shipment or a complex operation when you know every step will be tracked and exposed from the start? The cartel's fate is a cliffhanger for other global adversaries, highlighting the consequences of challenging U.S. technological dominance. This new surveillance structure has entirely rewritten the balance of power. The G-Boss E-Towers, the LRAS-3 mobile scouts, the Crow's optics, the high-altitude planes, and the counter-drone systems all function as one single integrated organism. This structure sees across land, sky, and signal, establishing a dominance that is complete. For the first time in the history of the frontier, every single major cartel route is exposed. The old saying was that the border was simply too long to guard. That is no longer true. The frontier breathes under a constant watch. It is not a physical wall, but an electronic mind. The cartel's rituality of recurring raids and patrols only highlights their consistent failure against the automated network. The age of invisibility is over. Now, every single movement leaves a trace. The digital net is tightening around the cartels. This represents a historic and irreversible shift of power. For the first time in generations, the border favors law and order, not criminal chaos. The battle that once seemed endless now has clear momentum, driven not by human effort alone, but by the relentless, unquestionable precision of technology. The border, once porous and reactive, has become a transparent membrane, aware of everything that touches it. This technological revolution doesn't just secure territory, it redefines sovereignty. Control no longer depends solely on manpower or physical barriers, but on information dominance. It's a shift as profound as the advent of radar or satellite reconnaissance in past wars. The terrain that once defeated law enforcement through its size and silence has been mapped into the digital realm. In that realm, distance and darkness mean nothing. Every desert wind carries data. Every shadow reveals a signal. The age of blind smuggling was built on ignorance, on what the state didn't know, couldn't see, or failed to connect. That ignorance no longer exists. Persistent surveillance, artificial intelligence, and counter-drone warfare have merged into a unified architecture of awareness. The border can now see in all directions, all the time. The age of invisibility is over. The cartels that thrived on secrecy now face a future defined by exposure. Every movement is a risk. Every path is lit. And the border, once a line drawn in uncertainty, has become a living network of sight. A system that ensures the shadows will never again belong to smugglers. This takedown was just the start. The fight isn't finished. On your screen is the next video. Click the video, it opens right away, and you'll see the cartels crushed even harder.